walk like an Egyptian. Just another manic Monday, an eternal flame. And the sky is a hazy shade of winter in your love.
Before girl bands ruled the 90s, one group of rock goddesses had the world walking like Egyptians.
Walk like an Egyptian.
And losing their minds over Manic Mondays.
Just another manic Monday.
The Bangles weren't just some pop act. They played their own instruments, wrote their own songs, and rocked out with harmonies so good they felt unreal. Mix in a little punk attitude, a feminist edge, and a music industry that didn't know what to do with them, and you've got one hell of a story. It all started on a chilly night in January 1981 in a Los Angeles garage, because where else do all great rock and roll stories begin? Susanna Hoffs, Vicki Peterson, and Debbie Peterson met up at Susanna's parents' house, just trying to feel each other out musically. To break the ice, they started singing some old 60s songs they all loved, and just like that, out came a perfect angelic harmony. No warm-up, no practice, just pure, accidental magic. They looked at each other like, wait, did that just happen? And right then and there, they knew this had to be a band.
It was instant. It was absolutely instant. I'm like, she's in, all right?
I loved that. It was great.
At first, they played around with names like Colors, the Supersonic Bangs, and the Bangs. But trust, they weren't just another cute girl group. They had serious rock star energy from the start. But let's back it up a little. The whole thing started when Susanna Hoffs put out an ad in The Recycler, listing off her love for 60s bands like the Byrds and the Beau Brummels.
I had these kind of what I think of now as these kind of imaginary fantasy bands.
Now, in the early 80s, most people were all about punk and new wave. Nobody was out here standing 60s rock. But then the Peterson sisters saw the ad, felt the same way, and just like that, music soulmates were found. When they finally played together, it was like the stars aligned. With bassist Annette Zelinskas later completing the lineup, the Bangles jumped headfirst into LA's Paisley underground scene, a mix of 60s psychedelia and edgy 80s pop. They grinded their way through the club scene, playing anywhere that would have them, rehearsing in garages and putting in the work like true rock stars in the making. And before long, the industry came knocking. By the time Columbia Records came, the Bangs had a little problem. Some random East Coast band had already swiped their name. So they did a quick switch-up and officially became the Bangles. But that wasn't the only shake-up. Annette Zelinskas packed her bags for another band, leaving the bass spot wide open. Enter Michael Steele, a former Runaways rocker who slid right in just as the band was about to hit the big leagues. Now, if you only know the Bangles from Manic Monday,
Just another manic Monday.
we need to talk. Their early music was pure fire. Their first major label album, All Over the Place, 1984, didn't exactly set the charts on fire. It barely cracked the Billboard 200 at number 80, but it was cool. And in the 80s, being a college radio favorite was basically a stamp of underground approval. They hit the road hard, rocking out in packed bars, sweaty clubs, and college theaters, proving they weren't just a bunch of pretty faces.
We were these sunny California girls who did 60s garage pop.
These ladies could shred, and real rock fans knew it. And guess who was paying attention? Prince. Yep, the Purple One himself was obsessed with their sound. So much so that he borrowed inspiration from the Bangles and their Paisley underground peers for his own mid-80s psychedelic era. He even named Paisley Park after them. And he wasn't alone. Cyndi Lauper was also a fan. When two of the biggest artists of the decade are vibing with your music, you know you're onto something big. And trust, this Prince connection, it was about to take the Bangles to a whole new level. If All Over the Place was their warm-up, Different Light, 1986, was the explosion. This album didn't just put the Bangles on the map, it had them plastered on every bedroom wall, MTV screen, and Billboard chart. The album shot up to number 2 on the Billboard 200 and went triple platinum in the US, platinum in the UK, and sold a whopping 3.6 million copies worldwide. And why? Because it was packed with hits. First up, there's Manic Monday. The dreamy, bittersweet anthem written by none other than Prince. Yes, he just casually handed them a future classic. Then there's Walk Like an Egyptian.
Walk like an Egyptian.
A song so wildly catchy, it turned into a full-blown cultural phenomenon, complete with that iconic dance move. It topped the charts, got everybody doing that sideways shuffle, and even got banned by Clear Channel after 7 and put on a Records to Avoid list by the BBC during the Gulf War. Why? Who knows? Apparently, a fun, quirky pop song was too much for international conflict. But here's a fun little secret. Tony Basil, yep, the Mickey singer, was originally offered the song but said, nah. Then, Leni Lovitch recorded a version, but it never saw the light of day because she hit pause on her career to raise her family. So, Destiny was clearly waiting for the Bangles, and when they finally got their hands on it, it became a global smash hit. The music video even snagged a nomination for Best Group Video at the 1987 MTV Video Music Awards. Of course, success also came with the usual rock and roll nonsense critics saying the Bangles weren't tough enough and that an all-female rock band should have a more aggressive feminist edge. But instead of playing into the drama, the band took a different approach. Vicki Peterson and Michael Steele threw sarcasm at the haters, while Susanna Hoffs kept it real. We figure the best way to deal with the situation is to just be a band, go out there, do our job, and not complain about how many people think women can't do rock and roll. Mic drop. Oh, and let's clear something up. Every member of the Bangles sang lead vocals at some point.
Everybody writing, everybody singing, everybody playing, and everyone harmonized.
Debbie Peterson took the reins on Going Down to Liverpool, and Vicki and Michael each had their moments in the spotlight. But if there was one voice that defined the Bangles, it was Susanna Hoffs. She was the Paul McCartney of the group, the cute one, the bubbly, wide-eyed star whose natural charm sometimes made people overlook her actual insane talent.
I made a heart and a colored it red.
Even when she wasn't leading a track, her voice was the secret ingredient that made a Bangles song sound like a Bangles song. By 1988, the Bangles had it all. Hit records, sold-out tours, and enough drama to fuel a soap opera. Their third album, Everything, should have been their victory lap.
Everything I wanted.
Instead, it was the ticking time bomb that blew them apart. You know the classic rock band struggle. Fame comes, egos start to clash, and suddenly, it's less about the music and more about the mess. And the Bangles? Oh, they had their fair share of mess. As their stardom soared, so did the tension. And at the center of it all, Susanna Hoffs.
Sudden now, it wasn't just a band thing, it was Susanna Hoffs and the Bangles.
Fans loved her, the media couldn't get enough of her, and her bandmates? Well, let's just say the constant spotlight on Susanna started to grate on a few nerves. It became Susanna versus the rest of us, the band later admitted. Yikes. The label had been pushing Susanna Hoffs as the star for years. The media couldn't stop speculating about her rumored fling with Prince, and the band had lost their creative grip. By the time Everything dropped, with bangers like In Your Room and the worldwide #1 Eternal Flame,
Say my name. Sun shines through the rain.
the Bangles were barely functioning as a unit. Fans call it their white album for a reason. Everyone was doing their own thing, recording separately, and pretending the tension didn't exist. But oh, it existed. Management dangled solo deals in front of Hoffs and Michael Steele, while the rest of the band seethed. Fights broke out. Steele once got so mad, she hurled a chair across the dressing room.
I mean, we didn't fight like we should have. We didn't fight like all boy bands fight.
Instead, they just stopped talking. Now, was it Susanna's fault that she had the perfect mix of talent, camera awareness, and undeniable star power? Probably not. But did that help the situation? Absolutely not. Her beauty, her ability to work the camera in interviews and videos, it all fueled the growing resentment. And then came the eye move. Cue dramatic music. You know the one. That iconic flirty glance left to right in the Walk Like an Egyptian music video.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Yeah, that one. Apparently, that was the final straw. The thing that tipped the already shaky balance within the group. It sounds ridiculous, but in a band already dealing with underlying tensions, something as simple as a well-timed gaze was enough to ignite the flames. And the tension wasn't just surface level. Debbie Peterson revealed that things got so dark that she actually considered taking her own life. It was that bad, she admitted. I was thinking of ways of actually doing it. I felt like I just didn't need to be here anymore. I was psychologically damaged. All this while, the band was at their peak. Talk about rock and roll highs and lows. Now, let's rewind a bit, because this is where Prince comes in. Susanna Hoffs, yes, Susanna again, being the networking queen she was, convinced their A&R rep, Peter Philbin, to personally invite Prince to a Bangles show in August 1984. Seems like a long shot, right? But to everyone's shock, Prince actually showed up.
Hero takes a fall, and sure enough, they look over to the side, and Prince is coming out onto the stage already.
Susanna was the one who also worked her magic and made the purple one hand them Manic Monday on a silver platter.
Beautifully for women, you know, I mean, he just got it. And he loved to give these songs away. He loved doing this. It was a generous act.
That connection was the stuff of legend. But as the years went on, things took a weird turn. According to a book by Hachette Book Group, Prince's admiration for Hoffs morphed into low-key stalking. It started with little things, messages left on their tour bus, him floating around the band, the constant threat of him suddenly appearing on stage. But then it escalated to his purple limo mysteriously showing up wherever they were without him ever getting out. I think he was following us, the band admitted. Okay, Prince was a musical genius, but even geniuses can be a little bit creepy. And then, the truly weird stuff. Being a famous band means getting fan mail. And getting fan mail means, well, sometimes you get gifts you really, really wish you hadn't opened. For example, Vicki Peterson once got a chicken bone necklace. Yep, somebody out there thought, you know what Vicki needs? A handcrafted poultry relic. And then there was the real horror moment. An apothecary bottle filled with a cloudy white viscous liquid sent specifically to Susanna. I'll let you take a wild guess on what that was supposed to be. After that, the Bangles implemented a strict gloves-on policy for opening fan mail, because honestly, you never know what people are capable of. And then, poof, the Bangles broke up in 1989, abruptly, dramatically, and in the middle of planning an international tour. Hoffs' solo career didn't do so great, although she had a few hits.
On my side of the bed, you
Steele quit for good, and the band completely missed out on the 90s. Years later, they finally patched things up.
Just learned how to be better musicians, better friends, better collaborators, because in the years that we weren't working together, we just kind of grew up a lot.
Then came Doll Revolution in the early 2000s. But by then, the music landscape had changed, and their time at the top had already slipped away. But even after over 4 decades, the Bangles are still rocking, just on their own terms. They've since released other works, like Sweetheart of the Sun, 2011.
do more than talk to you, right?
Plus a rarities collection. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bangles, 2014. They've also kept busy with live shows, proving they've still got it. But here's the real reason the Bangles never really got their due. Yes, they received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2007, but as much as we love the Bangles' music, there's no denying that sexism played a huge role in how they were perceived. Instead of being recognized as the influential all-female rock band they were, the industry, and let's be honest, a chunk of their fans, reduced them to cute hit makers. Even now, Bangles forums are flooded with middle-aged men obsessing over their looks rather than their music. Meanwhile, rock purists either dismiss them as sellouts for their pop success or refuse to rank them alongside their male Paisley Underground peers like the Dream Syndicate or Green on Red. And when it comes to the larger jangle pop and college rock movement, bands like R.E.M. and The Church get all the respect, while the Bangles get ignored. So they were caught in a double bind, either ogled and objectified or dismissed as not real rockers. Anyway, where are they now? Susanna Hoffs, the Bangles' lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist, went solo in 1991 with When You're a Boy, which gave her a Billboard Top 40 hit, My Side of the Bed.
You'll come and sleep on my side of the bed.
but she didn't find it so easy.
The solo career was much harder than I ever thought it would be. There were so many jobs to do that I wasn't used to doing, like everything.
In the 90s, motherhood threw her into an identity crisis, especially as her husband, Austin Powers director Jay Roach, was blowing up in Hollywood. She even tried recording music in her garage to stay close to her kids. More recently, Hoffs has been on a creative spree, releasing Bright Lights, 2021, The Deep End, 2023, and making her author debut with the rom-com This Bird Has Flown, 2023, which got rave reviews. At 66, and with a net worth of $100 million, she's still balancing rock, writing, and family life with Roach and their 2 sons. As for Vicki Peterson, the Bangles lead guitarist didn't slow down after the split. She rocked out with Continental Drifters and Psycho Sisters in the 90s. Even filling in for the Go-Go's on tour. In 2003, she married John Cowsill. Yes, from the Cowsills. By 2017, the two formed Action Skulls with actor-musician Bill Mumy, dropping an album, A Different World. In 2020, at 67, she's still jamming. After the breakup, Vicki's younger sister, Debbie Peterson, the Bangles drummer, co-founded Smashbox with Go-Go's drummer, Gina Shock, which later evolved into Kindred Spirit. Married since 1989, Debbie, now 63, and with a $10 million net worth, has 2 kids and still plays music, having collaborated with the late John Wicks and the No Ones. Last but not least, Michael Steele. Before joining the Bangles, Steele, formerly Mickey Steele, was a founding member of the Runaways, though she left before they took off. As the Bangles bassist, she also took lead vocals on deep cuts like Following and Complicated Girl. Post-Bangles, she played with Crash Wisdom and Eyesore, but officially left music in 2005. Now 69, she's enjoying a quiet retirement with her $7 million net worth.